Welcome to the motherfucking relay. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. An interesting bit of intel I came across. Apparently, the WBA title in the women's lightweight division is registered as vacant on the WBA's own website ahead of this weekend's fight between newly crowned WBC champion Caroline Dubois and WBA gold champion Jessica Camara. As such, it's conceivable that between now and the weekend, Jessica might be elevated to full WBA champion. She might be, because that's not all. Unbeaten up-and-comer from the United States, Stephanie Han, has a fight coming up next month on the 22nd that is said to be a WBA world title fight. Are we talking about the full title, the one that's vacant? Or are we talking about a secondary title? Because we know the WBA likes to mass produce these things. They've got an entire assembly line of belts. We'll get those answers shortly. Back over to Caroline's upcoming fight with Jessica Camara. Jessica, a seasoned veteran and a respectable fighter, fights out of the orthodox stance. 36 years old, the young Caroline, who's 24 and a southpaw. This fight scheduled for 10 rounds in the women's lightweight division, what will be Caroline's first defense of the green and gold belt. Caroline, who sports an unblemished record of 10 wins with no losses, no draws, 5 recorded knockouts to Jessica Camara, sports a professional record of 14 wins with 4 losses, no draws, 3 knockouts, having been knocked out 2 times in 18 professional bouts. Seasoned veteran who's been around the block, been in there with some good fighters. She's won some fights, she's lost some fights, and I think she's about to lose another this weekend. After having had a very productive year last year, her win over a then unbeaten Hyun-Mi Choi in April, then her decision win over Bonnie Hunter in September. She's been fighting, so she ain't got no ring rust to shake off, though I still think she's outgunned. I still think she's outmatched. Caroline Dubois is the younger, fresher fighter, physically gifted, fast, athletic, and strong. Packing a knockout punch. Jessica Camara has already been knocked out by lesser fighters and lesser punchers, less talented boxers than Caroline Dubois. And thus it's conceivable that this weekend's fight could end in a knockout. This will be Boxer's first show in the new year. Boxer that's done an all-right job of keeping Caroline busy, keeping her active. She fought 3 times in 2023, 2 times in 2024. They've guided her to the green belt, the WBC title. Now they gotta try to get her the others that are on other sides of the street. Caroline's new year begins with Jessica Camara. Jessica's an all-around good fighter. She's not the fastest and certainly not the strongest, but she knows how to handle herself. She's currently on a 4-fight winning streak. Having been knocked out by a journeywoman in March of 2023, that shock upset loss to Carla Zamora, Jessica has since rebounded, won 4 in a row, though this weekend, I think she's going to be outgunned. I think she's going to be outmatched. Caroline is too fast, too physically strong, and that's on top of her boxing acumen, that she's a very good fighter, but a physically gifted one as well. And that's the cherry on top. There's nothing that Jessica Camara does better than Caroline Dubois, in my humble opinion. Caroline can do all the same stuff as Jessica and then some. Caroline Dubois, by way of knockout, is the logical choice. That's the way to go. Now, whether or not that additional WBA title will be on the line this weekend, your guess is as good as mine. Because Caroline Dubois does have TV money behind her, because she's with a major promotional outfit that has a broadcast deal, it's conceivable that the WBA may afford her the chance to win their belt now that nobody's holding it. Katie Taylor had it for a number of years, but like I've been telling you, Katie's done at 135. She's done in the lightweight division. She's undisputed champion at super lightweight. There's no reason to move back down. So the landscape at 135 is changing. A new crop of champions has sprouted. To liven things up and keep things fresh, the very best fight the lightweight division has to offer here today would be a fight between Caroline Dubois and Beatrice Ferreira, IBF champion. We'll see how long it takes to make a fight between them, between those 2 standout amateurs, those 2 Olympians. For now, Caroline's got Jessica in front of her this weekend. And I think she's gonna stop her. I think she's gonna knock her out. I'll be surprised if she doesn't. Broadcasted live in the United Kingdom by way of Sky Sports, Peacock if you're in the United States. Keep your eyes peeled for that this weekend. Men's boxing, Devin Haney joins VADA 24/7 365-day program.
Why?
Per a social media post from the Voluntary Anti-Doping Association, Devin Haney has entered their voluntary 24/7 365-day program, meaning he will be tested year-round in and out of competition. VADA posted the following on X yesterday. VADA testing welcomes Devin Haney to our 24/7 365 program that will extend till January 2nd of 2026. Haney last fought in April against Ryan Garcia in a bizarre fight that has since been officially ruled a no contest by the New York State Athletic Commission due to Garcia testing positive for the banned substance Osterin. Garcia was also suspended from boxing for 1 year, making this all the more peculiar. It's not Devin that needs to prove to people that he is a clean boxer.
It's Ryan.
It's not Devin that needs to clear his name. So what exactly is the point of joining this program? Is this a way of getting his opponents moving forward to do something similar? I'm not sure. Haney, 26, has been inactive since that fight with Ryan in which he took significant punishment, including 3 knockdowns. Garcia also missed their 140-pound limit by more than 3 pounds. Though he has returned to the gym, Haney, with a record of 31-0 with 15 KOs, spent a good portion of 2024 out of the spotlight. In joining VADA's 24/7 365 program, Haney joins the likes of Nonito Donaire and Edwin Rodriguez, who enrolled in this program back in 2012 and 2013, respectively.
You will find that the number of fighters that have actually signed up for something like this are far and few. Most fighters don't.
And you can make of that what you will. Now, why Devin's doing it, once again, I'm not sure. He's not the one that needs to clear his name. He's not the one that's under suspicion.
He's not the one who tested positive for a banned substance.
He is, however, the one who some people feel is a shot fighter after that beating that he took from Ryan Garcia. He's being told to steer clear of a rematch with Ryan, that he's shot mentally. Devin Haney has been warned against taking the Ryan Garcia rematch over fears that he will lose again. Haney boxed Garcia in April in a defense of his WBC title. He entered the bout as a big favorite, with Garcia seen as a massive underdog, but Garcia flipped the script as he secured a majority decision victory in one of the biggest upsets in boxing history. He sent Haney to the canvas 3 times in a superb performance.
I wouldn't call it superb.
Unfortunately for Garcia, the result became a no contest once he failed VADA tests for Osterin. He was subsequently banned from boxing for a year, as he could not fight professionally until April of 2025.
Wouldn't call it superb because it's not like Devin didn't win rounds in that fight. He actually did. It's just that physically, he couldn't put a dent in Ryan, where Ryan was putting several dents in him.
Haney would have his undefeated record reinstated, but it did come at a price. Only Top Rank made a purse bid for his mandatory fight against Sindor Martin. Haney subsequently vacated his title, as he has not been in the ring since. He recently returned to training with Haney's camp, pushing for a Garcia rematch. Their perception is that if everything was equal, Haney would have come out victorious.
That has yet to be determined.
However, the amount of Osterin found in Ryan Garcia's system suggested that it was not enough to enhance performance. Prograis had doubts about Haney's chances in a rematch. Regis faced off against Haney in December of 2023. He lost his WBC junior welterweight title as Haney won every single round to become a 2-weight world champion. But Haney looked far from that fighter against Garcia. Regis warned him about stepping into the ring with Ryan again.
That whole bit about the amount of Osterin they found in Ryan's system, that it's not enough to significantly enhance performance.
That's just what they found, what the test picked up on. Who knows how much more might have left his system from the time he started using to the time he got tested.
Huh?
It's a stupid argument, is what I'm saying, that they didn't find that much in his system, but that's just what you found. Who knows how much might have been there before that? I'm not gonna say that he's shot. I don't think that, but I don't think he's gonna beat Ryan. Mentally, he knows he got beat. He got dropped 3 times and got his ass whooped by Ryan. That's always going to be there. No matter what they put out there, and no matter what Bill Haney says, that's always going to be in the back of his mind. Damn, he really beat me. No matter what they say about the steroids and all that type of stuff, you can say what you want, but he still lost. Yeah, Ryan, was wrong. He was using something he shouldn't have supposed to, but how much did that really count? I don't think Devin will be able to beat Ryan, but if he fights somebody else, I don't know, Prograrius said.
Anecdotally, I like to gauge the fighters' reactions whenever peds are involved and how some are blasé about it.
Because why would a fighter, a professional fighter, be blasé about something like that? It's indicative of something else.
What?
If the Garcia rematch does not happen, Haney will have to reevaluate his future. He has a decision over whether to continue at 140 or move up to welterweight. There are fights available for him at 140. He could face Teofimo Lopez, who has the WBO title, but reports indicate that Lopez is close to finalizing a fight against Subriel Matias in February. The other opportunity is to face the newly crowned IBF junior welterweight champion, Richardson Richens, in what would be one of the most boring boxing matches in postmodern boxing.
Yawn.
Hitchens defeated Liam Barro to secure the belt in his last fight. Alternatively, a move up to welterweight offers Haney a chance to become a three-weight world champion. He could pursue a fight with WBC welterweight champion Mario Barrios, but Haney would face competition from Conor Benn, who is looking to secure that fight. Haney has plenty to consider moving forward.
You hit like a girl.
That's what I remember about the Ryan Garcia fight, that Devin is the better boxer, but physically he was outmatched and he couldn't stay out of the way of that left hook.
Kept getting nailed with it coming in.
Needs to keep the right hand high to protect that side of his face, is to not let that left hook get in. It's nothing that a few tweaks and adjustments won't be able to fix, but Regis Prograis thinks that he shot. He shot mentally.
Now that's possible. Some fighters lose one fight and they're never the same after that, so I don't dismiss it.
I noticed that Regis Prograis, in his evaluation, and some other fighters, are blasé about the Osterin. What role did that have to play in the fight, in the performance? And like I said, I like to gauge the fighters' reactions because to me it's telling.
Why would a professional boxer who is most affected by something like this be so blasé about it? So cavalier.
It's almost like they view it as an occupational hazard, something that comes with the territory, which would suggest that doping in the sport is even more widespread than people realize, to the point where fighters are unsympathetic.
Because they're doping too?
That is one way to look at it. I find it suspicious that those most affected by something like this would be so dismissive.
You don't care?
They don't seem to, and in that way, that says something about them. Now, this is a more cynical era of boxing where the boxing fan is a lot more accepting of these kinds of situations on the premise that, well, if the entire sport is doping,
it isn't even playing field.
So when one fighter loses to another, don't point to performance-enhancing drugs as being the reason, since you might be on them too.
But Devin didn't test positive for anything.
And neither did Ryan before he fought Devin. Yeah, everybody's innocent until they're not. Everybody's innocent until they're caught.
Can Devin win a rematch?
I actually think he can, even though I'm not a fan of his base style. Pure boxers are just not my cup of tea. But if they were to fight again, I would back Devin Haney to win a points decision. I don't think he can hurt Ryan the way that Ryan hurt him, because Devin can't punch.
But he can win on points.
By tidying up a few things, tightening up his guard, tweaking the strategy as to not walk into all those left hooks. Though actually setting up the rematch might be more difficult than winning it.
They're struggling in that department. The Haneys need that rematch. Moreover, they need to win it. And for that to happen, you gotta make it happen.
We'll see if they can. Finally, in men's super middleweight news, per veteran boxing scribe Dake Jonovan, I have good and bad news on Canelo versus William Scull talks. You can decide which is the good and the bad, since it's the same update. Yes, Scull's team have been contacted. Scull is one of several options being explored, and not necessarily the first or even the second choice. William Scull, newly crowned IBF super middleweight champion that became champion in a lackluster showing with Vladimir Shishkin.
I didn't watch that fight, and based on what the reviews were, I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I missed it.
Though I have familiarized myself with William Scull and his methodology, Cuban fighter, pure boxer, not a fun guy to watch. Certainly not somebody you want to see in there with Canelo Alvarez. Canelo at this point, given his celebrity and everything he's done so far, you want to see him in bigger fights with bigger names, whether it's David Benavidez or perhaps Terence Crawford?
Not William Scull.
The saving grace is that according to Jake Donovan, William is neither Canelo's first or second choice. He's just the guy who's there. It's just an idea they are bouncing around. If I had to choose Canelo's next opponent, well, it wouldn't be William. Adding to that conversation, I remember 2 or 3 weeks ago that given the controversial nature of the Scull versus Shishkin fight, the IBF went ahead and ordered a rematch.
I remember hearing that in November.
So if Canelo Alvarez were to fight this guy, it would be a chance for Canelo to become a 2-time undisputed champion, though hardly necessary because most people view him as the man to beat, as the true champion of the super middleweight division, the super middleweights, to where he doesn't need to fight a William Scull to prove anything. William himself, as a fighter, doesn't make for a very fun option. This is a guy who's going to fight a fight similar to the one that Jermell Charlo fought, where he's on his bike all night, moving around,
happy to survive and not actually trying to win.
Nobody wants to see that. I'm a big fan of Canelo Alvarez, but I don't want to see that. I just saw Edgar Berlanga fight that kind of fight. What used to be billed as a knockout puncher, all of a sudden got on the good foot when he was with Canelo.
And I don't want to see Canelo in there with another guy like that.
Accenting what I've been telling you, that Canelo's been around a long time and he's been so successful, so dominant, that the super middleweight division in and of itself doesn't have much to offer him anymore. He fought all the belt holders and took their belts, satisfied 1 or 2 mandatory challengers, to where for him, this division doesn't offer much.
Not because it isn't a deep division, it actually is, but it's high time that those contenders started fighting each other, now that many of them have had a Canelo Alvarez fight, whether it's Jaime Munguia, or Caleb Plant, or Edgar Berlanga.
It's time to fight each other, and for Canelo, he may have to shift his focus elsewhere. Whether you like Terence Crawford's chances in a Canelo Alvarez fight or not, you all have to agree that it would be bigger than a William Scull fight.
Pay better than a William Scull fight. It's backed by Turkey LL Sheik.
And even if for some reason you don't like Terence Crawford, you have to agree that he has more fans and is more well-known than William Scull, that William is not a substitute for Terence. A fight with William is not a better fight than a fight with Terence. So for that, you might as well go fight Terence.
Yeah, I would prefer that over a William Scull fight.
As far as William and who I would like to see him fight, I would like to see him fight the winner of Mabili versus Sajo.
Whoever wins that fight.
That was recently ordered. A fighter like William is only interesting to me if you put him in there with an action guy, with an action fighter, since he's not one himself. He's not gonna bring it.
He's gonna run, then call it boxing.
Whatever the hell you want to call it, I don't want to watch that kind of fighter. I don't want to watch that kind of fight.
I want to see you get beaten within an inch of your life. I want to see you bleed. I want to see you fall!
And I'm not going to apologize for that, because that's why people watch boxing, for the blood and guts and the grit.
The brutality. This is not the ballet.